Harry loses the plot. The Duke of Sussex's first day in the witness stand in his needless and bitter war against the Daily Mail newspaper was a complete disaster. The guy is a hot mess, attacking the royal family, once again playing the victim card. Poor me, the world's least happy millionaire.
There was a reason Meghan Markle didn't want Prince Harry to go to war with the Daily Mail. And today we now understand why.
Harry is quite delusional. I believe that he behaves like an immature teenager that is still throwing one big epic tantrum. He's not listening.
Prince Harry walked into the High Court believing he was fighting the press. Instead, the press turned his own life into evidence. And by the end of day 2, it was clear this case had slipped completely out of his control. What was supposed to be a legal stand against media intrusion quickly became a public dismantling of his credibility. His own memoir,
Devastating moment for Prince Harry's reputation and credibility, as he argues with a judge while in the dock, contradicts himself, appears to fib about using the pseudonym Mr. Mischief.
book that earned him an estimated $20 million, is now being used against him line by line under oath. And the damage didn't stop there. A judge openly corrected him in court, not quietly, not privately, but in front of reporters, lawyers, and the official record. Then came the unexpected twist no one anticipated. Chelsea Davies' name was dragged back into the spotlight, and sources now suggest her husband may be considering legal options of his own. This all unfolded inside the London High Court during Harry's lawsuit against the Daily Mail. On the second day of proceedings, the newspaper's barrister stood up and detonated what can only be described as a legal landmine.
Well, as we all know, Prince Harry is in the UK. He is testifying around this case that he has against the Associated News.
He began reading out material tied to Harry's past relationship with Chelsea Davy. Private messages, travel plans, emotional exchanges, even intimate details from their time together in Botswana. As the courtroom listened, Harry visibly froze. Witnesses said the color drained from his face, and it's not hard to understand why. Chelsea represents the life Harry left behind. She came from wealth, avoided attention, never chased fame, never sold a story, never cashed in. She moved on quietly, married, had children, and built a peaceful life far away from royal chaos.
But Harry's in court because he's still suing the Daily Mail. He's still suing all of these papers. And what's interesting is these folks are so fame hungry, okay? And then when they get written about, they don't love the way they've been written about. It's like, okay, you guys can't make your mind up. You can't be happy. It's this catch-22. You want constant press and you want to constantly be,
Meanwhile, Harry claims his entire battle has been about privacy. Yet his current existence is built on documentaries, podcasts, interviews, and relentless public exposure. The contrast couldn't be sharper, and that contradiction is now sitting front and center under oath. Harry argues that the Daily Mail violated his privacy by reporting on his relationship with Chelsea. But here's the problem. He never asked her permission to resurrect her life in court 2 decades later. Reports indicate her husband previously asked Harry to stop referencing her publicly. That request was ignored. Now her name is once again splashed across international headlines because of Harry's legal strategy. The irony is brutal.
Getting into big trouble with the judge for yelling at the Daily Mail's main lawyer. Harry is out of control. He hates accountability, and his performance in the witness stand today was absolutely wild.
Harry exposed deeply personal family moments in Spare. He published private conversations, emotional conflicts, and sensitive details involving relatives who never consented. Yet now, reporting on a long-known relationship from his past is being framed as an unforgivable invasion. From California, Meghan is reportedly watching the fallout unfold while Harry sits in London reliving a past he claims he wants privacy from. And as coverage intensifies, the media narrative keeps drawing the same comparison. Chelsea's quiet dignity versus Harry's public unraveling. That contrast alone is said to be fueling intense tension behind the scenes. One detail has resurfaced that cuts especially deep. Harry insisted Chelsea be invited to his wedding.
So when I was in court for Prince Harry's case on Monday, I thought that I saw the woman who I understand to be Prince Harry's alleged stalker, so-called stalker, lined up outside courtroom 76, trying to get access after lunch on day 1 when his team were laying out.
Meghan reportedly didn't want her there, but Harry pushed it through anyway. That single decision continues to raise eyebrows and reinforces what many now believe. that Chelsea was the chapter Harry never fully closed, but that was only the beginning. The courtroom atmosphere shifted dramatically when the judge, Matthew Nicklin, directly addressed Harry and issued a rebuke that will follow him permanently. He told him plainly that he was behaving like many other litigants who argue back instead of answering questions. The instruction was clear. Harry's role was not to debate evidence, but to respond to it. Harry didn't stop. He interrupted. He corrected. He justified.
I mean, we do kind of joke about, like, okay, what's going on with Better Up? Well, you lost Senabale. You are quiet when it comes to African Parks charity due to all of the scandal that they are plagued by. Maybe he's thrusting all this Invictus stuff at us to prove that he does something sometimes, Kev.
Yeah, very much so. As I say, this is a guy, who used to have a very full and fulfilled life. Now he doesn't. And the way Radar Online put it is, or that quote, I mean, I think that does sum it up. America for him, his American dream, Harry's American dream has turned into a nightmare.
And each time he did, the judge shut him down again. The reprimands stacked up one after another, each more damaging than the last. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a public exposure of someone who still doesn't understand how courts function. And that's what makes this moment so devastating. Harry has spent years surrounded by elite lawyers, pouring millions into lawsuits, yet he still couldn't follow the most basic courtroom rule: answer the question and stop talking. Every interruption reinforced the impression of entitlement, not authority. Then came the haunting reminder from the past. Before her death, Queen Elizabeth II reportedly warned Harry explicitly against publishing a memoir. She told him that once something is printed, it becomes permanent evidence. She understood his impulsive nature, his emotional responses, his fixation on settling scores. She knew words on paper never disappear. Harry ignored her. He released Spare, promoted it aggressively, and repeatedly bragged about its accuracy and fact-checking. Now that same book is being read aloud in court, contradicting his sworn testimony.
Harry was sworn in before taking his seat in the witness box, and he was questioned under oath by David Sherborne, who is his barrister. He was then cross-examined by Anthony White KC, who is, of course, representing the Daily Mail newspaper. Anthony White KC knows his onions and has taken Harry down. And
her warning, what's in print stays in print, is echoing through the proceedings, and the hypocrisy doesn't end there. While Harry claims the royal family blocked him from taking legal action against the press, his brother William was quietly doing exactly that, successfully. As a working royal, William sued publications like Paris Match and Closer for privacy violations. No chaos, no public meltdowns, just clean legal victories. And then William did something Harry never mentions.
That they say he's envious of Prince William's reach in the celebrity space because, Harry's like, I live in Hollywood. I should have these types of contacts through my charity initiatives. Yeah. And they say that he's been on the phone with J-Lo recently, trying to recruit J-Lo to do some charity stuff with him. Where do you stand? Do you buy that? I thought it was so silly. I didn't trust it. But at the same time, I'm like, He
donated every penny of those settlements to the Invictus Games, Harry's own charity. Let that sink in. William proved a royal could sue the press. He proved it could be done professionally. And he handed the money back to Harry's cause. That single fact collapses Harry's claim that the family prevented legal action. William wasn't stopped. He wasn't blocked. He wasn't punished. Even Harry himself once admitted that the so-called policy had no real substance. Now, under oath, he's trying to claim it controlled him. It can't be both. The contrast is now undeniable. William pursued justice and gave the money away. Harry is pursuing lawsuits fueled by resentment and financial need. William handled intrusion with restraint. Harry is unraveling in public while his own words are used against him. And that leads to the question no one in court is saying out loud yet.
Sussex, oh hello, I'm Prince Harry, the world's least happy millionaire. It meant that rather than give his evidence and go in the witness stand at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow, he's done it today. A source close to the Duke's claim said that the Daily Mail and their legal team have had months to inform the court that their opening argument would last less than 2 hours. Instead, they've had to resort to game playing and dirty tricks consistent with the way that they've treated not just the Duke, but all of the victims in this case. Have you noticed how Harry is once again the victim?
Why is Harry really doing this now? Because when you strip away the emotion, the courtroom drama, and the family grievances, one motive remains standing. Spare alone reportedly earned Harry an advance in the region of $20 million. Add to that the Netflix agreement valued near $100 million, plus the Spotify deal estimated at $20 million before it collapsed. Conservatively, Harry personally brought in well over $150 million in roughly 4 years. Now look at what remains. A single lawsuit now places him at risk of £40 million in legal fees. The Montecito mansion cost more than $14 million up front. Private security is estimated at $3 million per year, possibly more. Legal battles continue on multiple fronts. And yet when insiders examine the lifestyle, the math doesn't balance. Despite the massive earnings, Harry and Meghan are repeatedly seen relying on other people's homes, other people's private jets, other people's vacation properties. They attend high-end events but rarely host. Invitations are accepted far more often than they are returned. In elite circles, that pattern doesn't go unnoticed. Quietly, behind closed doors, industry insiders have begun describing a troubling reputation, a pattern of taking without contributing, of enjoying access without footing the bill. And one word, not invented, not exaggerated, reportedly used by Spotify executives after the deal collapsed, was grifters. That label spreads fast in Hollywood. Once it sticks, doors don't just close, they lock. Negotiations become hostile. Trust evaporates. Deals shrink or disappear entirely. Netflix insiders are now reportedly questioning whether renewal is even worth the effort. Projects underperform. Controversy outweighs results. Executives are no longer asking how to support the Sussex brand. They're asking whether it's worth the stress at all. And this is where the financial nightmare sharpens.
This fixated fan turns up at court. It's suddenly in the newspapers. It's suddenly people are talking about it, and I totally get that skepticism from people. I understand why people would be skeptical, because Harry has manipulated the children can't come back thing to get the security, which I think is really out of line, because there's no reason why Harry couldn't have come back, gone to Sandringham, gone to Balmoral, seen his father, taken the kids to meet his father, and have gone home before anyone knew about it. So I have no doubt that for Harry, the security thing is not actually just about security. It is about legitimacy. If he gets the security back, he suddenly looks again like a real member of the...
If Harry loses this case, he may be personally liable for the entire £40 million legal bill. That's not symbolic. That's catastrophic. The judge didn't merely hint at this risk. He warned the claimants directly on the record about personal financial exposure if the case failed. For someone who has already burned through an estimated $150 million in just 4 years, this isn't theoretical pressure anymore. This is real-world danger. Forced asset sales, career implosion, financial freefall. Harry's own legal team understands this, which explains what's happening behind the scenes. They're leaving. This isn't one junior associate stepping away quietly. Multiple senior attorneys have withdrawn from the case. Experienced legal professionals do not abandon a high-profile lawsuit with massive ongoing fees unless they see a collapse coming, and don't want their names permanently attached to the wreckage. So how did it go this wrong? The first failure is basic and devastating: statute of limitations. Several of Harry's claims date back to 2001, more than 2 decades ago. Legally dead, time-barred, unrecoverable. That's not a gray area. That's litigation 101. Missing that isn't bad luck. It's catastrophic oversight. The second failure is even harder to defend. No one appears to have fully cross-checked Spare against Harry's sworn testimony. That is the most fundamental rule in law. Know what your client has already said publicly. Harry published a best-selling memoir packed with personal admissions, timelines, and details. And somehow, his legal strategy failed to account for those words being read back to him under oath. The third failure borders on unbelievable. There was zero preparation for the most obvious defense strategy imaginable. Of course, the Daily Mail would weaponize his own book. Of course, they would line up contradictions sentence by sentence. How a legal team facing £40 million in exposure didn't anticipate that is staggering. Then comes the evidence problem. The Daily Mail's royal editor is accused of paying £200 to a private investigator for flight information related to Chelsea. An email exists. That payment is documented. But the defense argues the information came from legitimate sources, friends, royal correspondence, industry contacts doing standard journalistic work. Their argument is blunt. The leaks came from Harry's own circle, and this is where the case truly collapses. If you live loudly, overshare constantly, party publicly, and surround yourself with people who barely know you, you don't get to act shocked when personal details appear in print. You cannot broadcast your life, publish it globally, then claim ambush when newspapers repeat it. That contradiction is fatal. Harry openly documented his drug use and alcohol abuse in Spare. He didn't simply admit it. He described it in detail. Those years of impaired judgment may now explain why he struggles to remember who he told what. The paranoia he describes reads less like media surveillance and more like the long-term consequences of reckless oversharing. The court is watching this unravel in real time. And Harry's legal team sees it too, which is why they're getting out now, before the collapse becomes permanent. Senior lawyers don't walk away from a case like this for vague personal reasons. They bill their hours, secure what they can, and then distance themselves before a verdict detonates their own credibility. What's forming here isn't just embarrassing, it's genuinely dangerous. This stopped being about losing money a long time ago. Now it's about perjury, lying under oath. And that's not a civil inconvenience you resolve with a settlement or a bigger check. That's a criminal issue if intent can be proven. The legal bar is high, yes. Prosecutors must show that the false statements were knowingly made, not just poor memory or confusion. But Harry's problem is the source of the contradictions. These aren't hazy recollections from decades ago. They're printed, edited, fact-checked, and globally published statements from a memoir he personally promoted as truthful. He didn't distance himself from Spare. He toured the world defending it. He insisted it was accurate. He framed it as his unfiltered truth. Then he testified to the opposite under oath. That's not hearsay. That's not interpretation. That's Harry versus Harry, sworn testimony colliding with his own published words. Legal analysts are already debating whether this opens the door to further scrutiny if the case collapses. This isn't conflicting witnesses. It's documentary evidence versus courtroom statements. And if this lawsuit fails, the consequences cascade. Personally liable for £40 million in legal costs. A potential perjury inquiry. Total destruction of credibility. Any remaining hope of family reconciliation evaporates instantly. And the pattern is uncomfortably familiar. Prince Andrew followed this exact trajectory. Arrogance, a belief that status insulated him, a lawsuit meant to clear his name, public humiliation, legal retreat, permanent exile. Andrew thought the rules didn't apply to him, until they did. Harry is now tracing that same path with almost surgical precision. The royal family sees it. That's why they're silent. King Charles hasn't intervened. William hasn't reached out. They already watched one senior royal implode under legal pressure, and they're not stepping into the blast radius again. Silence isn't confusion, it's distance. Sources say Harry repeatedly checked his phone during his London appearance, waiting for acknowledgement, some signal of support. Nothing came. That silence was the message. Chelsea Davy exited long before the collapse. She built a quiet life, married, raised children, stayed out of the spotlight. A life defined by stability, not spectacle. And now the contrast couldn't be sharper. While she dominates headlines for dignity and restraint, Harry sits in a courtroom revisiting the past under oath. This isn't normal aging. This isn't bad luck. This is what happens when every bridge is burned chasing vindication. When £40 million hangs in the balance. When lawyers flee. When a judge publicly rebukes you on the record. When your own book becomes the weapon used against you. The Queen warned him, directly, clearly. He ignored it. Now the very thing he celebrated is dismantling him in real time. His finances are under strain. His legal position is fragile. And this no longer looks like misfortune. It looks like systematic self-destruction, with Harry as the architect. When this case ends, the fallout will be brutal. Financial exposure, reputation damage that can't be undone, any path back to family unity permanently closed. Meghan remains in California. Chelsea remains a symbol of the life he walked away from. So here's the real question. Is this lawsuit about justice, or about reliving the one future he never truly let go of? Team Chelsea or Team Meghan? Legal collapse or marital collapse? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like and subscribe for the next part. The verdict, the fallout, and what comes next. because this story is far from finished.